pressure moving, and the winds above they whirl. The sands of time turning me into a pearl. I'm not afraid to face the fire, to walk to the top of the highest peak. And when my feet become weak and tired, I will flex my faith, let go and leap. The hardest healing feels its feeling, breaking the ceiling and moving into the sky. And the greatest glory stops telling the same story, and it rises from the fury, burning into the burning into the We all have secrets and scars of shame. The place is wild that we wish to tame, but no matter how hard that we try to hide, whatever's hiding, it shows up on the outside. I'm not afraid to face the fire, to walk to the top of the highest peak. And when my feet become weak and tired, I will flex my faith, let go and leap. The hardest healing feels its feeling, breaking the ceiling and moving into the sky. And the greatest glory stops telling the same story, and it rises from the fury, burning into the burning into the burning into the hardest healing feels its feeling, breaking the ceiling and moving into the sky. And the greatest glory stops telling the same story, rises from the fury, burning into the
Okay, so that's what we have in store for ourselves today. We're going to face our hardest healing and feel the feeling and burn into the high. So you are here at the Burning Bull service. Welcome. And let's get started by saying our mission statement. To awaken, acknowledge, and nurture the divine in everyone. Let's just take a big breath as I light the unity candle and our candle for life, and we sing Surely the Presence.
Of angels' wings, I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace.
rush of angels' wings, I see glory on his face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this
Resting in this sacred space that we are creating, I invite you to come along with me into prayer. Divine Spirit, Holy Mother, Father God, infinite wisdom, the glories of the universe is right here, right now, in and as the presence. We step through it, we walk through it, we know ourselves to be it. And as we rest in this place of peace and understanding, or maybe we're striving for peace and understanding, we know that we are in the right and perfect place to be supported by Spirit. If you'll allow my words to be your words, as I say, I am safe. I am comforted. I am aware of the spiritual hug I am receiving. I feel the warmth. And I am blessed. As I come to know my blessings, I give way to thanksgiving, and my heart opens towards joy. Breathing into this knowing. With every breath, I accept the truth that I am, and that every particle of the universe is reflected within me so that I may reflect out to the world the love that I am. I hold this truth for myself, and I hold this truth for my loved ones, and for all those who have been weighing on my mind. This is your opportunity now to use the power of your voice, the power of vibration, if you would like to speak the names out loud of those you are holding.
Addie. Jill.
Yes.
Steve Willow.
For these names and so many more, we hold the highest truth. We include all the members of our community, our national community, our leaders, and the world, as we know they are guided to make the right and perfect decisions for themselves and for those that they lead. We hold the highest that we are all doing the very best that we are able to do. We know this is a spiritual principle for mankind, for humankind, for the human race. And as we contemplate on these things, we affect race consciousness, and it is good. And so we give this knowing back to the universe, back to that place within that connects with the divine. Because as we receive, we return in favor, constantly in the flow of giving and receiving wisdom, giving and receiving compassion, giving and receiving understanding. And for this we are forever and ever grateful, and so we say, and so it is. Amen. So let us take this divine knowing with us as we say together our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. All right, let's just take a big cleansing breath and release. Release. Which is really what we're talking about today. Release. I loved some of the lyrics in that song. The hardest healing feels its feeling, breaking the ceiling. When we are in need of healing and we have those stirrings within us, right? These feelings that something is out of balance and is coming into balance. It's a feeling that something is about to purify itself within us. And it just bursts out of us sometimes, metaphorically breaking the ceiling. And she goes on to say, and moving into the sky. I just have that visual of connecting with the universe. And she goes on, and then the greatest glory stops telling the same story, rising from the fury, burning into the high. And that high is our highest good. And that highest good feels like a high too, doesn't it? When we are right in there, in that place, and we know we are right and exactly where we need to be, that's a really good feeling. That we are moving towards our good, and that we are experiencing it. Whether or not we have reached our destination for whatever that situation is in your mind that you're holding, whether we've reached it or if we're moving towards it, just knowing that we are moving towards our highest good always is such a great feeling. Those lyrics come from Amy Steinberg, who's an amazing songwriter that I'd like to bring in more of her music this year. So I think we're going to do that. She has a lot of great insights. So Burning Bowl. We are all here today to experience Burning Bowl, which is just so much fun. It can be a little difficult. And so that's why I would like you all to just remember and know that you are in a safe place. You're going to have an opportunity later to meditate on what it is you would like to release. And so we're going to do that together. And for some people, this is difficult. I believe there's tissues in front of you in the chair. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. But I like to start out by quoting the American Protestant minister and author Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote, "There is a spiritual giant within you, which is always struggling to burst its way out of the prison you have made for it." It's like it starts out sounding so great. And then, dang it, we got to take responsibility. That's always the way it goes, right? But that is the way of truth. There's a spiritual giant within you which is always struggling to burst its way out of the prison you have made for it. And that spiritual giant is a power. It is our power. It is our highest power. It is our true potentiality that is residing within us. And sometimes we're aware of it and sometimes we're not, right? Maybe you're very aware of that spiritual greatness within you. And maybe you've just felt like there's something keeping you from it, from realizing it in your life. There's a block maybe. You don't know what it is. Maybe you do know what it is. Maybe you do know some of the habits that you are choosing to keep, that you haven't yet been able to let go. Maybe you want to let them go. There's all different layers to this, all different levels of where you may be with something. Or maybe you're just very aware that the time is right and you are ready. But this spiritual giant, as Dr. Peale puts it, can remake you. It can remake you in every way. physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, in every way. You can call it God, or you can call it the spirit of life. You can call it universe. Whatever that word is for you, it is residing within each of us. And we know that. This is basic unity stuff, right? This power is a presence. And so when we light our candle and sing our song, recognizing the presence, that is a very real experience that we can create for ourselves in any moment. And even if you're only doing that here on Sunday mornings, that's fine. Let it carry you. Let it carry you. And if you're taking that home with you and doing that each day, sitting and quieting yourself, stilling your mind, and going into that presence, bringing it forth, the power that is already within you, bringing it forth and out and surrounding yourselves with the knowing that you are of that presence, that you are embodying. You are the embodiment of that presence. It's like, wow. That is awesome in the truest sense of the word. So we can recreate ourselves both in body and mind, in spirit, in our soul, by burning into the high, by moving towards our highest good, by filling ourselves with new life. And we can not only transform ourselves, but we can transform the world around us. For whatever is happening inside is reflected in the outside world, right? And we can see that transformation. And if we can't see it, that's okay too, because just by the practice of it, we are affecting race consciousness. We are raising the vibration of the planet in our own special way. So life, this life that we breathe in and express out, should be a continuous, should be, right, in air quotes, a continual process of letting go and letting be, letting go and letting God. Sometimes we fight that process. We forget that this is a natural flow. But if you remember, when you're struggling with letting something go, just remember this is a natural thing. It's a part of the creative process to let something go, so that it can become its full expression. And if it doesn't need to be a part of you, then it is going out into the ethers, either dissipating, transforming, alchemizing energy. So what is it that you would like to let go? This natural rhythm of in and out, of involution and evolution. Could it be bad habits that you keep? Or some addiction that you're holding on to? Maybe it's just an addiction you've let go of, but it still is in your mind, right? Sometimes you remember when you had that addiction and the way that it fed you, the way that it served you was real and not all bad, right? There's chemical things that happen in our brains that we need to continue on to feel safe, to feel happy, to feel purposeful. And when we let a physical addiction go, sometimes the remnants of that can be held in our minds. Whether it's drugs and alcohol, or sugar, or watching too much TV, whatever it is, great or small, when we let something go, it doesn't always leave us completely. And we need to continually be aware that yes, it is in the past and it can come back into my present and my future if I choose to let it. But today I am going to say no. Today I'm going to deny that those thoughts that remain in my mind, or the addiction, if it is still real for me, has over me. I'm going to deny that there's a power that is controlling me. And I am going to take a stand. I'm going to take a stand for my highest good today, and I am going to say no. I'm not going to deny that it wasn't real or that it isn't real. I'm just going to deny that it has any power over me, because there is only one power and one presence in the universe, and that is not it. Right? That's not it. The only power it has is the power that we give it. So it's this continual process we have. And sometimes we believe we can't change because change is hard. So we have this idea, this belief that, oh, people don't really change. And we believe that because we've seen that. We've seen people try to quit smoking, right? Do you know it takes I think the average is 7 times to try to quit smoking before you're actually successful? That's the physical power that it has over you. And that's cigarettes, that's nicotine. And I don't think that is any less or more powerful physically than some of the other things we choose to do to sabotage ourselves. So let's give ourselves a break. Let's be nice and gentle with ourselves. Let's treat ourselves and talk to ourselves the way we would talk to a child that we are just in love with. This child is just so beautiful and perfect. Remember how we celebrated the birth within us, the birth of newness that we experienced through the Advent season. That is the specialness that you are talking to. That gentle, sweet, a friend of mine says, sweet and creamy insides. Right? It's just that lovely gooiness of just comfort. That is what we want to speak to, and that is where we want to speak from with one another. Okay, so the performance of the ritual we're going to be doing together helps us let go of hurts, grudges, resentments, regrets, any kind of suffering, anything where you have had a belief that something isn't right, that something isn't good. We're going to take those things and we're going to bring them back into balance, where nothing is really good or bad. It really isn't. We just judge things as good or bad. Even our own bad habits, our own self-sabotaging habits that we have just practiced over the years, they're not bad. They're not good either, though, right? So if we could just get out of the habit, take the shame away. These things aren't bad. They're really, really not. They do serve us. And when we're ready, we move on. And we move on to something higher. How many of you do New Year's resolutions? Oh, no hands are going up. One little hand, one shy hand. I don't do so great with New Year's resolutions. But you know, I thought of one on the way here. I was imagining my friend this morning on the way in who's in the hospital, and he's been in and out of the hospital throughout December. And he's the type of person who's very private. He doesn't want visitors, you know. He doesn't really, he thinks he's an atheist, but he when he talks, he's very spiritual. He's one of those people. And so I'm just imagining what I could do to serve him. And I was reminded of the Tonglen practice of Buddhism. Are you aware of that? It's where you breathe in, you walk into a room, always and forever, you're breathing in the negative energy into your heart. It's like a heart math exercise, really. You breathe it in, you alchemize it in your heart, and your exhale breath is love. So you're taking the energy that is in the room, whatever it is, and you don't always know when you walk in a room, right? But you're breathing in the energy of the room and alchemizing it within your heart, and your exhale is just pure love. And I thought I would like to make that my practice for 2019. That's my New Year's resolution. Just to be able to do that in every situation, really. It's almost like a waking meditation. that I would like to practice for the coming year. So I'll keep you posted on how that's going. But are there resolutions that you've made that you haven't been able to see through? Maybe there was a resolution at the beginning of this year, 2018, that you just didn't quite get there. Maybe today is your opportunity to think about why that is. What was holding you back that you would like to release today? So we're going to have a candle. We're going to have some fire that we're going to put what we're releasing into. We're putting that into the fire. And in most religions, fire is, and I think just worldwide, fire is a symbol of purification, of transformation. Think of a phoenix rising, right? It bursts into flames before it is born again. And that's kind of how I like to think about this. It's not that we're necessarily getting rid of something. We're getting rid of the power it has over us, which allows us to integrate it into our personal power. And then it becomes part of the light that we are. So that might be a huge relief. It might be that we don't have to get rid of everything. We just see it for what it is, not good, not bad, just what it is, without judgment. Because as we're practicing being kind to ourselves, we don't have to have judgment about every little thing that we do and think and say and be and imagine. Right? It just is. And so when we burn it, we're burning away the power that it has had over us, and we get to integrate it into all of us. All of what I am. I get to integrate that and let it become part of my power that I walk with. It's part of my wisdom. You don't want to get rid of all your bad experiences. I put that in big fat air quotes, right? Because they're not bad. They have served us. And because they got us to where we are today. They got us to this room. They got us to this experience, to this ritual. And so it's all good, right? It just is. So when you're thinking about what you'd like to get rid of, you might have a whole laundry list of things, right? And you're going to get some papers. Honey, would you mind passing out the papers and pencils right now? Don't write anything down yet, because I'm going to watch the time, but I want you to be prepared. These papers are small. And if you're thinking you might have a whole laundry list, then take more than one, because they're little. We have plenty. And then if you only take one, or if you run out of paper, just raise your hand. But not yet. We'll write later. We're not writing yet. But when it comes to that time, if you run out of room and you need more paper, just raise your hand and we'll bring you more paper. Okay. Now this paper is special paper. This is flash paper, which is why it's so small. You don't want it bigger than this, because it will burn you. When you put that on the flame, there's going to be, if you haven't seen this before, there's going to be something fun that happens with that flame. So I will show it to you. I don't want any little fingers to get singed. Keep your loose sleeves pulled up when you do it. Have you done this before with flash paper? Okay, you got a front row seat to see what's going to happen then. Yes. If you haven't trimmed your beard or your eyebrows, yes. Keep them in the safety zone. Okay, so I would like you later, we're going to do a meditation to kind of help you guide you through this, but ahead of time I would just like you to think about things that you are actually ready to let go of, but maybe you're not actually ready to fully let go of them. Like I talked about before, there's different levels to this. So whatever you write down is going to be perfect for you. Just know that. There's not a lot of pressure in getting this exactly right. Your intention here is key. So maybe you're only in a space of wanting to let go of something, right? You want to. You're not quite there yet. So you would write, for example, an example might be, the power that gossip has over me. Maybe I have an addiction for gossip, right? The power that has over me. Think of it in those terms. So it's like and this is the denial part of unity, where, your arm might actually be broken, but you're denying that it has any power over you. Does that make sense? It's like when our minds kind of play tricks with us, and our egos get a little sticky. Have you ever known someone who had a physical ailment and they were just really grouchy and grumpy? And you're like, wow. Yeah. Or yourself, sure. It's because that physical ailment is kind of taking over your thought processes. And when that happens, all you have to do is just deny that pain has any power over you. And that's a physical thing, right? But you can think of any situation that you have felt has taken over your thoughts. Something that has made you act out in a less than kind way to other people, because your thoughts are caught up in something else. Your thoughts are troubled with something bigger than this conversation you're having with your neighbor about her cat. It's like, why does she always talk to me about her cat? That's me. I'm the one that talks about the cat. So just know that if you're experiencing maybe a little loss of patience with people, or if people seem just to be irritating you in general, what is it that is going on in your mind that's keeping you from loving kindness? What is going on there? Something that you have given power to that you might not be aware of. And so it can...
Let go of me.
Yeah, there's a lot of static cling with these papers. So we're just saying no that these ideas have any power over us. All right, so I want to move further down. Change. It's the beginning of the year. We have our resolutions sometimes, maybe. We want to change. Right? We think that to move towards our highest good, we have to change. And the truth is, in the absolute, we know we are already perfect, divine children of the one true source. There is nothing that we have to change into. It's just about revealing what is already there. Think about it that way too. We're just uncovering some of the layers that are surrounding our heart, that are surrounding our soul. We're uncovering. It's like peeling away an onion. What are you ready to let go this year? To reveal the truth of what you already are. Paramahansa Yogananda said, success is hastened or delayed by one's habits. It is not your passing inspirations or brilliant ideas so much as your everyday mental habits that control your life. So if you are, maybe what you would like to release is the fact that your brother-in-law is living in your basement and you're kind of sick and tired of it. I've used this example before. Really, you're not going to release your brother-in-law. This is a human being. But maybe what you want to release is, what's the belief behind that has you irritated? Maybe it's self-serving. Maybe it's that you believe that you've worked hard for the things that you have. And you don't like the fact that somebody is coming along and using your resources. That is possibly lack consciousness, the belief that there is not enough good to go around for everyone, and what's mine is mine. That is a tricky little play of the ego on our minds. So there's all different sorts of ways to look at this. Another Paramahansa Yogananda quote is a diamond less valuable because it is covered with mud? God sees the changeless beauty of our souls. He knows we are not our mistakes. Thank God for that. Right? I mean, I can get up here and tell you that you are changeless beauty and your soul is magnificent. But really, that's an experience that you have to have for yourself. And if you haven't had that experience, it's good to hear it from an outside, but it's also good to repeat it within yourself. God sees the changeless beauty of our souls. He knows we are not our mistakes. So write down whatever you would like to write down on your papers when it's that time. But just know, this is not the highest truth of you. Okay, a couple more quotes I want to give you, and then we're going to move into our meditation. Charles Fillmore said, "We must learn to let go, to give up, to make room for the things we have prayed for and desired." The end goal here is to make more space, to create space for the good. And then St. Paul wrote, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's in Romans 12:2. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay, if we are ready, I would like to go into a meditation. I'm going to light the fire that we're going to use. All right, if you would like to just get comfortable, releasing anything that is distracting to you. Just make sure you are comfortable and able to breathe freely. I see light and love around each of your hearts and lungs as you take in breath. You take in pure life essence. And easily, gently, we breathe into our heart centers as if our hearts are actually doing the breathing. There is light all around us, supporting us, loving us, informing every cell in our bodies as to its intelligence, its purpose, to do and be in its right and perfect place and order. Every aspect of our being is in alignment with divine order now. We accept this good because we know it to be true. From the daily word, the word being let go. I am the love of Spirit expressing in this world. I am the love of Spirit expressing in this world. Release is a natural part of health and growth, just as my breath and my digestion. Just as my breath and digestion are continuous cycles of intake and output, my thoughts work in similar ways. If I am resistant to letting go of a belief or habit that may limit my happiness, I pause for a breath. Breathing in life and light into my heart center and releasing. The dynamic activity of spirit moves through me in a constant state of creation. Divine wisdom reveals any limiting thoughts or beliefs, which I then release from my mind and heart. Letting go of the old creates new space in my mind for a fresh awareness of the power of spirit moving through me. I confidently affirm, I am wise. I am healthy. I am the love of spirit expressing in this world. And from Mark chapter 2, verse 22, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is lost, and so are the skins. But one puts new wine into fresh wineskins. And so as we prepare our thoughts to burn away what no longer serves us, know that something new will be placed within you, as you are also something new. So turn your minds now and open your hearts to what is within you that you are ready to release. That you are ready to say, this has no power over me. Is it a habit that is keeping me from my good? Is it a relationship that needs healing? What is my part in that relationship? What needs healing within myself so that I may show up for that one person in front of me right now? Am I ready to release a relationship that is no longer working? Do I need love and support around that? Ask these questions of yourselves and know that you are fully supported and safe in the loving presence that surrounds us. Take whatever time you need to gather your thoughts and write on your papers. And if you need extra paper, just raise your hand and I'll bring it to you. There's some words that Peggy found from an old burning bowl service, and I'll read them to you. It's, I open my eyes to the beauty of life. I open my mind to the wisdom of peace. I open my heart to loving it all. I open my life to the Spirit of God. If you can see that up there from where you're sitting, let's repeat that together 3 times to kind of anchor it within us. I open my eyes to the beauty of life. I open my mind to the wisdom of peace. I open my heart to loving it all. I open my life to the Spirit of God. I open my eyes to the beauty of life. I open my mind to the wisdom of peace. I open my heart to loving it all. I open my life to the Spirit of God. I open my eyes to the beauty of life. I open my mind to the wisdom of peace. I open my heart to loving it all. I open my life to the Spirit of God. And when you are ready, you'll come up here and release what is no longer serving you.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You gotta let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life and my
Give yourselves a hand. Very good, very good. I'm proud of you. We did it. Okay, now we come to the part of the service where you get to give back as well. And so I invite you to gather up your offerings, your love offerings, your tithes, your spiritual gifts, and hold them closely and lovingly in your hands with intention, giving them attention, knowing that all is right and perfect, because as we give, so we receive. And let's say our blessing together. Divine love, flowing as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful.
Hey, hey, hey.
No longer bound, no more chains holding me. My soul is resting. It's just a blessing. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm free. Is that your testimony? I am free. Praise the Lord. I'm free. I'm no longer bound. No more chains holding me. Lift your hands and say it. My soul is resting. It's just a blessing. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm free.
Okay, so let's just say, loving presence. We offer these gifts knowing that we will be doing the work that needs to be done. It is all good. We walk in the ways of the one truth. In the one truth, we know ourselves to be spiritual masters, open and ready to receive divine inspiration, divine blessings. And it is good. And so it is. Amen.